Pandy opened the glowing notebook. His face lit up with wonder. A golden whirlwind appeared and pulled him inside. He landed in the middle of a cobbled street, eyes wide with surprise. Turning around, Pandy saw a tall, sparkling tower. A gray cat nearby stared at him with curiosity. Pandy and the cat stood face to face, quietly curious. Pandy panicked and kissed Louis's hand instead. They both burst out laughing. A new friendship had just begun. Pandy and Louis stepped into a warm Paris bakery, filled with the smell of fresh bread and buttery croissants. Inside, shelves were stacked high with golden pastries. Pandy's eyes sparkled with excitement. He reached for a croissant with a big smile, but oops, it slipped out of his hand. The croissant flew through the air and landed on his fluffy panda tail. Everyone laughed, including the baker, who kindly handed Pandy a fresh one, still warm. It was a sunny afternoon by the Seine River. Two bikes stood ready as Pandy and Louis grinned at each other. Pandy hopped on his bike, ringing the tiny bell with joy as they began their ride along the riverside. They pedaled past boats and bridges. Suddenly, whoosh! A seagull swooped down and snatched Pandy's croissant right from his hand. Pandy looked up in shock, then burst into laughter, his mouth still full of crumbs. Pandy and Louis arrived at the Louvre Museum, standing before its giant glass pyramid. They stepped inside, surrounded by ancient art and long, echoing halls. And there she was, the Mona Lisa, calm and mysterious behind the glass. Pandy stood beside her and tried to copy her exact pose and smile. Click! A photo was taken, and in the next room, Pandy's picture was framed like a real painting. Pandy and Louis wandered into a lively street market, filled with music and colors everywhere. They stopped by a fruit stand overflowing with shiny apples and stacked oranges. Pandy reached out for a bright red apple, his paws stretching carefully between the piles. But whoops! He accidentally bumped into the stand, and fruit tumbled in every direction. The vendor laughed and handed Pandy the apple as a sweet little gift. Under a shady tree in the park, Pandy and Louis sat with their sketchbooks open. Pandy looked closely at Louis, concentrating as he drew with short, careful strokes. When he finally turned the drawing around, he looked nervous but proud. Louis stared, then burst into laughter. His face in the drawing looked like a potato. They decided to frame the silly picture as a memory of the day. Pandy and Louis stepped onto a small tour boat, gently rocking on the River Seine. They sat together, taking in the view. Bridges, old buildings, and the Eiffel Tower glowing ahead. With big smiles, they posed for a perfect selfie with Paris behind them. But when Pandy checked the screen, he gasped. He had recorded a video by mistake. They watched the wobbly clip and laughed, keeping it as a funny souvenir. They entered a small cheese shop. Pandy sniffed a very stinky cheese and made a hilarious face. Then he noticed a heart-shaped cheese sitting quietly. "This one's for Mom," he whispered, holding it gently. The old goat wrapped it with a ribbon and a kind smile. Pandy and Louis sat near the train station at sunset. Pandy opened the magical notebook, ready to go home. Louis gave him a tiny Eiffel Tower, saying, "Don't forget Paris." He handed it to Pandy and said softly, "Don't forget Paris." Pandy vanished into golden light.